going on, everybody? Nick Costa here, and in today's lesson we're going to be practicing displacement using paradiddles. This is going to allow you to use your strengths to improve upon something else. In this case, we're going to be taking the single paradiddle, something that you are familiar with, and using that to our advantage to practice displacement. So in this lesson, we are going to break down all of the different variations that you can play, and then we will finally apply it to the drum kit. I'm really excited to dive into this with all of you, so let's get started. So if you've started on this journey with displacement, you may have been introduced to something known as the grid exercise. With the grid exercise, what you are doing is either playing a subdivision of 16th notes or 8th note triplets, and you just displace where you play the accents throughout the measures. So in this lesson, what we're going to be focusing on is actually 16th note subdivisions, and we're going to play single paradiddles throughout the grid. So with that very first measure, you're in luck. All that we're doing is we are accenting the downbeats when we play, just like we do when we play a single paradiddle. As you play this, also keep a quarter note pulse on your hi-hat. We're going to set the click at 80 BPM. Let's give it a shot. Pretty easy so far. Now what we want to do is actually displace our paradiddle so it starts on the E rather than the downbeat. In order to do this, if you are playing right hand lead, that means you have a left-handed ghost note on the snare drum before you begin your paradiddles. If you're playing left hand lead, that means you have a right-handed ghost note before you begin that paradiddle. Again, keep that quarter note pulse going so you know where your downbeats are located. Keep that click at 80 BPM. Let's give it a shot. So now that we have gone through that, let's actually displace that paradiddle again so it begins on the end. This time around, right hand lead, you have two left-handed ghost notes on the snare before you begin your paradiddle patterns. And if it's left hand lead, you have two right-handed ghost notes before you begin your paradiddle patterns. Keep that hi-hat quarter note pulse going, keep it at 80 BPM. Let's give it a go. And finally, we are going to displace that paradiddle one more time. That means it's going to start on the Us. In order to do that right hand lead, you have three left-handed ghost notes before you begin your paradiddle. And if you are playing left hand lead, you have three right-handed ghosts before you begin your paradiddle. Now that we have played through all of those variations, let's try and see if we can sequence from one to the other. So your challenge for this is to play each displacement for 2 measures before you move on to the next one. Give yourself 1 measure rest in between so that way you can start it with the opposite hand so you get comfortable playing this both right and left hand lead. Keep that quarter note pulse going, keep it at 80 BPM. Let's give it a go. right, so now that we have gotten through all of the one accent variations, it's time to move on to two accent variations. So we are going to shift back to playing our paradiddles starting on the downbeats. This time we are going to accent the downbeat and the E, the first two notes of each paradiddle. So let's displace that paradiddle again. So this time it starts on the E. This time we are accenting the E and the end. Remember that you have a left-handed ghost if you're playing right-hand lead, and you have a right-handed ghost if you're playing left-hand lead. Let's go ahead and displace that paradiddle again. This time it is starting on the end, so we are accenting the end and the Again, right-hand lead, you have two left-handed ghosts before you begin your paradiddle, and left-hand lead, you have two right-handed ghosts before you begin your paradiddle. So we're going to displace that paradiddle one last time for the two accents and now start it on the We are now accenting the and the downbeat of the next beat. Again, right-hand lead, you have three left-handed ghosts before you begin your paradiddle, and left-hand lead, you have three right-handed ghosts before you begin your paradiddle. Now that we've gone through all of those two accent variations, we want to now piece it together and see how that goes. Just like before, make sure that you play each version of this 2 times through before moving on to the next one. Give yourself one measure rest in between so that way you can reset and start it with the opposite hand so you get a little more familiar playing both right and left hand lead. So now that we have gone through playing both 1 and 2 accent variations, let's try 3 accent variations. So we're going to go back to having that paradiddle start on the downbeats. This time we are accenting the downbeat, the E, and the end. Let's go ahead and displace that paradiddle. So now it starts on the E. We are accenting the E, the N, and the Let's go ahead and displace that paradiddle again, so now it starts on the end. We are accenting the N, the and the downbeat. And one last time, we are now starting our paradiddles on the so we are accenting the as well as the downbeat and the E of the next beat. Now that we have done all of that, it is time for us to put all of it together. Just like before, you want to play each variation 2 times through before moving on to the next one. Give yourself 1 measure rest in between so that way you can reset and start with the opposite hand so you get a little more comfortable playing both right and left hand lead. Okay, now that we have gone through all of those variations, this is a perfect time in the lesson to actually pause the video. You want to be able to play all of these variations as well as you can play single paradiddle starting on the downbeat. So if you need to, pause this video here and work on whichever variation you need to make it sound as fluid and consistent as it does when you're playing just single paradiddles accenting the downbeats. Once you get all of that down and you feel comfortable, let's continue. All right, so now that you are comfortable with all of those variations, it's time to actually put them into context. So in order to put it into context, what you're going to do is just play a basic groove for 2 measures and then one of those variations for 2 measures. Don't worry about showing off your chops here with your groove. Just play a nice 2 and 4 backbeat basic groove. Let's get started with those 1 accent variations. First, we're going to start with the ones where we are accenting our downbeats. This time we are going to up the click to 110 BPM, however. Okay, now it's time to displace that paradiddle, so it is starting on the E. Again, 2 measures of groove, 2 measures of the variation. Let's displace that paradiddle again, so this time it's starting on the end. And finally displacing one last time, so the paradiddle starts on the Great, now that we have gone through all of the one accent variations, it's time to move on to the two accent variations. We're going to go back to starting those paradiddles on the downbeats, again accenting the downbeat and the E this time. 2 measures of groove, 2 measures of the variation. Give it a shot. We're going to go ahead and displace that paradiddle so it starts on the E this time, accenting the E's and the N's. Let's go ahead and displace that again. So now our paradiddles are starting on the end. We're accenting the end and the And one last time, we're displacing that paradiddle so it starts on the We're accenting the and the downbeat of the next beat. Let's move on to the 3 accent variations. Remember, with this first variation, we are accenting the downbeat, the E, and the end. And now we're going to displace that paradiddle so it starts on the E. We're accenting the E, the N, and the Let's go ahead and displace that paradiddle again so it starts on the end this time. We are now accenting the end, the and the downbeat of the next beat. And finally displacing one last time so the paradiddle starts on the this time accenting the as well as the downbeat and the E of the next beat. So that should give you a little bit of an idea of how to put this into context, playing a groove, go to the variation, and then get back into the groove. Speed is not the end result here. We're looking for consistency and accuracy and be able to fluidly transition between playing a groove into the variation and then get back into that groove. If you need to, you can pause this lesson again and work on any of those variations until you get that nice fluid transition going from groove to variation back into groove. When you get all of that down, go ahead and hit continue and we'll move on to actually making it sound a bit more musical. So let's actually make this sound a bit more musical than just playing a bunch of paradiddles on the snare drum. The easiest way to do that is just to move where the accents are played on the drum kit. Now before you go blazing around the kit, playing different parts of it for your accents and everything else, let's just focus on playing those accents on the toms. We're gonna focus on those one accent variations, and each time you have to play an accent, just play one of your toms. So if you are on a right-handed drum kit, that means your right accents are going to be on your floor tom, your left accents are going to be on your rack tom. If you're playing a left-handed drum kit, you got the opposite. So your left hand's on the floor tom, right hand's on the rack tom. Let's go ahead and keep that click at 110 BPM and give it a shot. Time to displace that paradiddle, so now it starts on the E. Just like before, if you are playing right hand lead, you got that left-handed ghost before you begin your paradiddle. And if you are playing left hand lead, you have that right-handed ghost before you begin the paradiddle. Time to displace that paradiddle again, so this time it starts on the end. Again, right hand lead, you have two left-handed ghosts before you begin your paradiddles, and if it's left hand lead, you have two right-handed ghosts before you begin the paradiddle. one last one. Let's shift that paradiddle to the Again, with right hand lead, you have 3 left-handed ghost notes before you begin those paradiddles. And if it's left hand lead, you have 3 right-handed ghosts before you begin the paradiddles. So now that we have gone through all of the one accent variations and we're just shifting where the accents are played, let's go through these variations one more time, but instead of playing everything with the hands, let's incorporate the kick drum as well. So instead of playing the same hand 2 times in a row, or the diddle portion of the rudiment, you're going to substitute that with 2 kick drums. So for this first variation where we are accenting the downbeats, you're now going to have right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick. If you're playing this left hand lead, you then have left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick. Let's give it a shot. So now we're going to displace that paradiddle so it starts on the E. So if you are playing this right hand lead, your pattern is now kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick. You're playing this left hand lead, that means you now have kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick. Let's go ahead and shift that paradiddle to now start on the end. If you are playing right hand lead, that means you now have kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right. If you're playing left hand lead, that means you now have kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left. And the last one, we are shifting so the paradiddle starts on the So if you are playing right hand lead, you now have left, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left. You're playing left hand lead, now you have right, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick, left, right, kick, kick, right. now that we have played through all of those variations and we put them into context, we made some of them a bit more musical, it's now up to you to see how much further you want to take this. Make sure that you start off by creating a nice, strong foundation for you to build upon. Once you do that, think of some other ways that you can play some of these variations around the drum kit instead of just playing the accents on the toms. Also think about some of those 2 and 3 accent variations as well. And that is it. Thank you so much for checking out this lesson, and I hope you got something out of it that's helping you improve your craft. Until next time, see you later.